Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sports Corner Cup of Coffee. I'm Mac here on Northeast Streaming Sports Roku channel. Glad to have you aboard as we're going to get to all the updates and information from this week's games. And the biggest news, of course, is the College National Football Championship, where Georgia beat Alabama 33-18 as Georgia scores 20 in the fourth quarter. Georgia quarterback Stetson Bennett goes 17 for 26, couple touchdowns. Zamir White runs for 84 yards on 15 carries and has one touchdown. Alabama's quarterback Bryce Young, you remember him, right? He throws for 369 yards, one touchdown, but two interceptions. Alabama rushes for only 73 yards. Young gets sacked twice. So the Georgia Bulldogs are this year's college national champions. Congratulations to them. And I have no doubt Alabama will be back stronger and better next year. In the NFL games, it's the last time to say this, folks, the scores and everything. And if you listen to my picks on the Mac, Jack, and Jim Big Football Show, you made some money this week because the last few weeks I've been hot as heck. So on Saturday, and the Big Football Show, by the way, is on 8 a.m. on Sundays. And, of course, we'll have that all the way through the NFL season. So if you listen to my picks, as I said, you made a little bit of money this week. In Saturday's games, you had Denver losing to the Chiefs on a big fumble, returned for a touchdown. Drew Lock had the linebacker in his arms and for some reason didn't tackle him, right? He didn't tackle him, and he just let him go. And the Chiefs end up pulling that one out 28-24. Dallas beat the Philadelphia Eagles second string 51-26. In Sunday's games, Washington 22, the inept New York Giants 7. Cleveland without Baker Mayfield beat Cincinnati without Joe Burrow 21-16. Pittsburgh knocks Baltimore out of the playoffs. What a few games for Pittsburgh at the end of the year. They beat Baltimore 16-13. The Lions beat Green Bay 37-30. Congratulations to the Lions, not on their season, but how hard they tried and how they stuck together, even though Rodgers didn't play the whole game. They won 37-30. The Jags, one of my underdog pick, ended up knocking out the Colts 26-11. What a way to end the season for the Colts. That's a shame. Minnesota comes back in the second half to beat the Chicago Bears 31-17. Titans slipped by the Texans, my underdog pick, to keep the first seed over there in the AFC, 28-25. The Saints 30, Atlanta 20. My lock of the week, folks, and I said that Seattle would not only cover the spread, but outright win the game, and they end up winning in overtime over the Arizona Cardinals, 38-30. You had the Jets, who played some competitive ball this year at the end of the season. They get beat by Buffalo, so Buffalo won the division title. The Buffalo won 27-10. The Bucks beat up the Carolina Panthers 41-17. Talk about a team that came out hot and just went ice cold. Miami upsets New England 33-24. Good for the Dolphins. Finish above 500. Patriots are now the wild card team. The Raiders showing lots of heart. Beat the Chargers. I guess you could say it's controversial, the pass interference, and they got to get rid of that rule. I mean, Carr throws up a Hail Mary basically towards the end zone. And, whether the receiver could have caught it or not, got called for pass interference. And then they're first and goal. They got to get rid of that penalty. I mean, that changes the whole game. I know that it used to be 15 yards way back when, and defenders were just grabbing the wide receivers and getting the penalty instead of letting them go for a touchdown. But man, to give the team that's back on their 40 first and goal on a penalty in the end zone is just they've got to do something with that. But anyway, the Raiders showed a lot of heart determination as they beat the Chargers. Raiders are in, the Chargers are out. The 49ers came back from a 17-0 deficit versus the Rams. And I've talked about this before, right? The team is an extension of the coach. And the Rams just came out and got so physical. I mean, the 49ers came out and got so physical with the Rams. It was like a totally different team. And they come back and win that game 27-24. The running backs ran harder. The wide receivers ran hard. It took 3-4 guys to stop the wide receivers, for God's sakes. The Rams are a good team. But, I mean, San Fran just dominated them in the second half. So that's the last time I get to say this week's in the regular season games. So we start with the playoffs this week, right? Starting on Saturday with the Raiders playing the Bengals at 4:15. The Bengals have more weapons. They got probably a better offense than the Raiders. Not by much, but they have a better offense than the Raiders. As I said before, they're like a poor man's Kansas City Chiefs team. And their defense is pretty good. The Raiders just got a lot of heart. There's something about the Raiders this year. I don't know if they'll win or not. I'll give my prediction near the end of the week. But, man, that's the first Saturday game. Then you have the Patriots against the Buffalo, sort of the rubber match. Patriots won the first game 13-10 and 50-mile-an-hour winds and just ran all over Buffalo. Buffalo at home. I mean, at Patriots, sorry, at New England. Better weather. Josh Allen had a big game. And that's what's going to have to happen again this Saturday with Buffalo's going to have to stop the Patriots running game, and the Patriots cannot get down to Buffalo. If they do, Buffalo's going to win this game. So should be a good one. The rubber match, Patriots at Buffalo, and that'll be at 8:15 on Saturday. In Sunday's playoff games, you have the Eagles at Tampa Bay. Be interesting to see if the Eagles, who played basically their second and third stringers against Dallas last week, if that hurt their momentum. Tampa Bay, we know Tom Brady's going to have his. Their defense is good. It's not great yet. It might be great by the end of the year if they continue on. Got a good running game, too. So Philly's going to have to be able to run on Tampa Bay to win this game. We'll see what happens there. You have the 49ers against Dallas. Again, the 49ers, if they play physical football and can run the ball against Dallas, have a chance. If not, if Dallas can stop their run, then Dallas should win that game. Pittsburgh at Kansas City. I think that'll be it for Pittsburgh. I don't think Pittsburgh will be able to match Kansas City. But, wow, do they play for Mike Tomlin, don't they? And then you have the Cards at the Rams. The Cards getting beat by Seattle. The Rams getting beat by San Francisco. Both have high-powered offenses. Defense is going to win that game, folks. So that's what you got for your Sunday games and the playoffs. The number one seed in the NFC is the Packers. The number one in the AFC is Tennessee. And what a scare they got by the Texans last Sunday, I should say. Giants fire GM Dave Gettleman. He said he retired. I guess you could say either way, but you knew that Gettleman would no longer be with the Giants after the end of that terrible season they had. Coaches fired on Monday. Some surprisingly, some we knew about. Matt Nagy, we knew. was going to be fired by the Bears. Always been a problem with him in the front office. That goes back to Trubisky, the way he would handle Trubisky. Vic Fangio with the Broncos did okay job. I mean, like I said, if they beat the Chiefs, maybe he keeps his job, maybe he doesn't. And they had the Chiefs right where they wanted him. But he was let go by the Denver Broncos. Mike Zimmer, interesting case here. Has a pretty good record with the Vikings, was there for a while, took them to 4 postseason appearances, lost to the Eagles in the championship. The Eagles went on to win the Super Bowl versus the Patriots. Good coach. I think he'll have a job if he wants to continue coaching. The Giants might want to look his way if they let go of Judge, which is still up in the air, and we'll see what happens with that. A head scratcher for me was Brian Flores, right? Brian Flores brought Miami back to a winning record. They had high expectations of him this year. They thought Miami might get in and compete, maybe even for the title as they played hard last year. They beat the Patriots last game, as Miami always has a way of beating the Patriots at the end of the season. But they let him go, and that's kind of a head scratch to me. I know who they have in mind. Other than Flores, maybe it was maybe there was a conflict between him and the management there too. But we'll see. Brian Flores will end up on another team for sure. In the NBA's the standings, the top 6 in the East Conference, you have Chicago still on top at 26-11, followed by the Nets at 25-14, the Heat at 25-15, the Bucks at 26-17. The 76ers, they've won their last 7 games. They're at 23-16. And Cleveland is at 28-18. In the West, the Warriors and Suns are tied at 30-9. The Jazz at 28-13. The Grizzlies at 28-14. Dallas at 22-18. And Denver, with all the talk about, them not playing well, is in 6th place right now at 20-18. So we'll see if Lillard gets himself together over there and they make a little run. In college basketball has already started, folks. And I know we had the national championship in football going big, but college basketball will come to the spotlight here soon. Baylor's number 1 at 15-0. Gonzaga at 12-2 is number 2. UCLA at 10-1. Auburn in 4th at 14-1. USC in 5th at 13-0. Arizona 12-1. Purdue 13-2. Duke 12-2. Kansas at 12-2. And Michigan at 13-2. So those are your top 10 in the NCAA college basketball rankings. In the NHL standings in the East Conference Atlantic Division, the top 4, the Panthers at 23-7, Tampa Bay at 23-9, Toronto 22-8, and the Bruins in 4th at 19-11. In the Metropolitan Division, the Hurricanes are at 24-7, the Rangers at 23-10, Washington at 20-8, Pittsburgh at 20-9. In the Western Conference Central, you have the Predators at 23-11, the Blues at 21-10, Avalanche at 22-8, the Wild at 21-10, and in the Western Division, the Knights, the Golden Knights at 23-14, the Ducks at 19-12, the Kings at 18-13, and the Flames at 17-10. So that's your update for today, folks. That's your cup of coffee. Next up on NESSP, Northeast Streaming Sports Roku channel, you'll have Let's Talk Sports with Dave Harris out of the United Kingdom at 7:30, and then Man Hour at 10 a.m. I'm Mac from the Sports Center on Northeast Streaming Sports with your cup of coffee. We'll see you tomorrow.